All right, and here we are. I want to welcome all of you this week. I have not had a chance to get back to you of so much material. There's a lot of things going on at the same time, and I have been trying to think where I should keep going after the message I gave on Monday. Now, some of you that watched the message that I gave on Monday, I prepared on Sunday, and I put it really late in the wee hours of the morning for Monday, so you probably saw it on Monday. But that was the message about, how in the last 2 years the meaning of Elijah has manifested itself, and how 1919 was the official year of the bee, being declared the most important insect to keep us alive, and how in the Hebrew the three letters that spell the bar also go with the letter for Deborah. We get the name for the bee in Hebrew. And also explain to you about how this year the plague or the pestilence is being declared that one little 40 nanometer long, very microscopic, can wipe out the human race. And also plague has the three letters for word in Hebrew, the bear, Dalet, Beth, Resh. So I'll explain that with the word God does everything done. So if the insect that keeps us alive has the three letters for the word in it, and the plague that can kill us all also has the three letters for the word of God in it in the Hebrew, that I have to tell you, what he was talking about. But in any case, I explained that on Monday. You can go back and see that one. Today I'm trying to speak about the monetary system, how that works. Because it became very apparent to me. I'm going to give you a little background on what happened. On Purim this year, Purim came on, I believe it was the 9th and 10th of March. They were celebrating Purim. And during around that time, and for those 2 days, starting on the 9th, I was kind of worried because the kind of work that I do, I am a subcontractor for this company, Language Line. And they have me working for the immigration services, where they do asylum interviews and what have you, or anything that has to do with immigration services. I do translation for them. But due to the situation that's going on right now, the work for them has dwindled a lot. The workload has reduced, and those are the calls that pay the most. So because of it, I had gotten used to a certain budget that I was receiving, and I have accustomed myself because I've been in this that you call a quarantine. I've been doing this since 2012. I've been working from my house, just walking to the supermarket, when I need to go. And I usually walk there every day because it's my an hour and a half routine. So that, and the last 3 days I only be eating one meal a day, in the evenings, and I don't socialize that much. I don't really go out. Maybe every other 2 weekends I might go out to eat with some friends, but other than that, I keep a lot of social distance. I don't go out that much. I've been working indoors, since 2008, but solely indoors since 2012. Because 2008, when I started this job, I also had another job outdoors. But 2012 on, that's when I did my fasting and all, and you saw how much weight I lost that year. And I posted that's when I started with Facebook. But in any event, I had been thinking for a while, that the kind of lifestyle that I was living, in which even my diet, like I don't eat sugars, I don't eat sodas, I don't eat any wheat, it's mostly vegetables. And if I do eat some meat, it will be like beef liver because it's loaded with vitamin A and I have to be looking at the screen all day long. So I want to strengthen my body with something that will help me keep my eyesight for a long time. So beef liver and everything has to do with vitamin A. That's my one meal in the day. Anything that has to do with spinach, carrots, kale, anything like that. And I drink my cod liver oil every day. So my diet consists of loading it up with vitamin A. Everything that contains vitamin A, that's my one big plate that I have once a day. And so because of that, so imagine I was thinking that if somebody is the whole nation for maybe for a year adopted my diet, it will bankrupt a lot of companies because and because of my lifestyle, I don't visit any doctors. I haven't visited a doctor since 2003 when I was diagnosed with a minor stroke and I ended up over there in Queen of the Valley in San Gabriel Hospital, and they put me on the right medication, but I figured a way to get out of it. And since then, I have followed a very healthy diet, and so I don't visit doctors. I don't buy aspirin, not even prescribed medications of any kind. I have kept healthy. I don't do any flu shots. I don't visit anything. So if you adopt my lifestyle, I was thinking if the whole country, I've lost a lot of industries will go bankrupt. That's something that I had thought for a while. And now that I find out that the whole nation has adopted my lifestyle, you see, this lifestyle that you've experienced for the last 2 weeks or so has not affected me one bit. My schedule can still continue. I still walk. I go to the supermarket, get what is needed. I do not go to the gym. I do not listen to music. I need to keep my mind free from my own thinking and my own songs that I can come up with. So you see, I'm isolated from society in many ways. So to me, this whole thing is not affecting me one bit. But I finding out that, fascinating that I did not mean for this to happen. I was just wondering what would happen if the whole nation adopted my lifestyle for a year. It will bankrupt everybody. A lot of companies, because I do not, by my lifestyle, I don't support gyms. I don't support radio stations. I don't support doctors. I don't do anything because I don't visit or listen to any of those things. So a lot of more industries than the COVID-19 would have gone under if you would have adopted my lifestyles. But this is just a few weeks, and with the COVID-19, you're still listening to the radio, you're still watching TV, you're doing all of that stuff that you listening to music with stuff that I don't do. I don't spend a lot of time on my cell phone. So what I'm telling you is that I was figuring that my life was most dangerous to destroy the economy, than the COVID-19, virus thing. That's why I named myself after the COVID-19, because I figured my lifestyle, the way I have lived myself and how I conducted myself, if everybody adopts that lifestyle, it will bring more disaster to the economy, than just just what is being done in the last few weeks, just with the fear of the COVID. But in any case, and also because the reason why COVID was named after the Corona, they put the CO on it because of Corona, and VI is for virus, and then the D is for disease. So the kind of shorten it says COVID-19, and 19 because it started last year. All right, but I appropriated that name because my hidden name, when I was born, I was given Zacharias David Emmanuel Castro Stevenson. Okay, but when I came to this country, I realized I did not need so many names, and my father is the one that decided to drop two of my names, one last name, because in this country you don't need two last names, only one. So he dropped Stevenson, which is from my mother's maiden name, and he dropped the David. So he only kept Zacharias Emmanuel Castro. So in this nation, I've been known as Zacharias Emmanuel Castro. But my hidden names, which were given to me at birth, David Stevenson, and hardly anybody knows that, but that's part of my name, originally given to me at birth. And as a matter of fact, I was thinking last year for the first time, I'm writing this book called Top Dabar, which means the functioning world or the functioning economies. And I was going to use my name, hopefully still use it once the book comes out. But the name that I was going to use for the author of the book was David Stevenson, okay? Because that's a name that is part of my birth name, but it has not been used in this country. And so David in the Bible just means the beloved. And Stevenson means crown, which is corona in Spanish, you see? So in my hidden name, I have the corona in there from Stephen. Stephen is corona or crown. So my name in the Hebrew means just, in the meaning of my name, that my hidden name is the beloved, the crowned son. Okay, that's the name of the meaning of my name, the beloved, the crowned son. Okay, now my whole name is Zacharias David Emmanuel Castro Stevenson, means God reassembles the beloved within us. Castro means strong tower because it's a castle. So a strong tower is Aleph Bet, which means the father, by the way. So from the beginning, the Lord reassembled the beloved within us, the Father's crowned son. That's the meaning of my whole name, when you put it, given to me from birth. So that's a very powerful name that was given to me. I did not choose it for myself. I don't know. My parents came up with that. My father tells me that he says that he was gonna name me after himself. His name is John. So my father then decided to name me after my grandfather on my mother's side because he didn't have any child named after him, and so he named me Zecharias, Zacharias, and supposedly my grandfather was very happy about that. And then there was an aunt who was very close to the family, and the aunt said to him, "Remember that we have family up there." That's what my dad's telling me. Recently, I found this out. I just this last 3 months, I found out. I was talking to my father. He tells me that according to our ancestry, I'm supposed to have some relatives going back to Yemen and Judea, and some place in Judah. Sometimes, so it's supposed to be some sort of Jewish background in my family, which I haven't checked, by the way. It means something that my dad recently told me, and we come from the De Castro family, and I did check on that. At least Googled it. I know there's a lot of Jewish people with the De Castro, that, and but I have not had the time, to go check on my ancestry or anything like that to vouch for that. But I know that's why, because his aunt told him that and since I was born on December 25, 1959, which is, most people celebrate that as a Christmas day. Well, he said that's an important date, and he has, family coming back there. Make sure to give him the name of David and Emmanuel. So I have an aunt named Francisca. He told me the name is Francisca. Married to a guy named Francisco, and they are the ones that are responsible for me getting the David and the Emmanuel. So that's the reason why I was giving all those bunch of names. Zacharias, David, Emmanuel, and then Castro from my father, and Stevenson is from my mother. And he also was telling me that from my mother's side also, the Stevensons, they have some Jewish background going back also there. And so this is very interesting. I was just discovering this lately. But like I say, I have not checked on any ancestry or not anything like that. But this is something that has recently come up on me. But in any case, the reason why I'm telling you all of this is just so that you know what's been going on. I have lived this kind of lifestyle of being in a quarantine, like most of you are beginning to experience right now for quite a while. So this thing is not facing me one bit, The only thing that happens is because I'm not getting those calls, I'm just getting like regular calls from FEMA. I get calls from FEMA and from the immigration department. So right now I'm not getting calls from FEMA, but FEMA just pays at my regular rate, which is less than half of the immigration calls. The immigration calls pay pretty good. But I got to get any of those, but it's fine. The only reason I was kind of worried because I have accustomed myself to a certain budget, I live with a certain amount of money. I try to look like $1 million. I dress well and everything, but I don't spend more than $30 a month in that because I go to Goodwill, on Thursdays when it's $1, and I get my suit for $1, I get my shoes for $1. So I know how to look like $1 million for $1, So I don't I don't spend too much money on clothing, going to the famous and they do have good brand names at the that I found out there at the Goodwill. A lot of people donate good stuff in there. So but I have a certain budget that I live by. That way, most of my money goes to all the people that that I can help with that. So I got used to that lifestyle. Because for a long time, my way of doing things from the very beginning, I like to do bartering. I would go to work for any place, and I would put all my services, from all my computer skills and everything, in exchange for a house that they would offer me, or in exchange for something. So I did a lot of bartering like that from the very beginning. So I like that idea of doing businesses that way. But then eventually, you have to get into the system of doing everything by money. So once I got into that, I did not want to depend too much on money. So I will set a very tight budget, I learned how to live on about less than $300 a month. And then it went down to $100. That means for buying food and buying clothes and buying everything that I needed for me. So the rest of the money could go to somebody else. As I learned to have a lifestyle like that, And so by doing that, this kind of situation that is happening on the world right now, I know it's scaring a lot of you and it's scaring a lot of people because they're not used to, like all of a sudden this is put on your table. And I know that if you have not had a mindset like that to begin with, this is going to throw you really off on a spin, and that's what's been happening right now. Okay, but I don't think there's anything to worry about it because I'm just I'm just talking to you right now. That's why I formed this covenant. But you see, going back to the reason why, so because my hidden name is David Stevenson, from David, the last part of it, VID, okay, and then Stephen is crown, right? So CEO in Spanish is Corona. So I have Corona and Stephen, so I put the CEO, that applies to me, and Ved for David, the last three letters of David, VID. So that's why I use, okay, that applies to me too, so I can use that name too, you see? Corona or Stephen, Ved for the last part of David. And the reason why I like 19 is because I was 19 years old when I began to be a serious student of the scriptures. When I was in Campus Crusade for Christ in 1979, and I started with Campus Crusade for Christ around March, by the way. Yeah, around at the beginning of this last month when everything started. I started with Campus Crusade for Christ, and I started going to the Bible studies with them, you know. That's my introduction to the scriptures, to Campus Crusade for Christ. And that's when I started studying the Bible with the strong concordance and using the reference to go into the meanings and all of that. And I haven't stopped ever since then, you know. Like I say, I to some churches I've gone, and I have confronted certain pastors on their doctrines and methods of doing things. All one-on-one, by the way. I did not do it in a way to smear their reputation by doing it in front of people, but they have not liked my approach to them, and some of them have kicked me out of the company. But all of that has not, you know, in any way dissuaded me from mistrusting the scriptures. I have been a student of the scriptures very seriously since then, non-stop, you know, and I have never really gone back from any period that I can remember in which I did not study the scriptures every day. And so, but I adopted a lifestyle like that. So you see, I was 19 years old, you know, when I started. So that was like 40 years ago, 2019, that will be 40 years, you know. And this year is 19 since we got the judgment that came on America in 2001 for the Twin Towers. Now it's 19 years later. And in the Bible, number 19, if you are aware of numerology, biblical numerology, that's the number for judgment or divine order. You know, like the 19 wicked kings of the northern side of Israel and all of that, how the Assyrians took over after that. And so it's a number for judgment as well, you know. So I thought that's very good, you know. But like I said at the beginning, if people in America would adopt my lifestyle, America would have gone under and bankrupt long time ago. You know, not just now. You know, because I've been doing this since 2012, more or less, and been straightening and getting more tighter on my budgets as the years progress. You know, but so like I was concerned. They say, so, you know, what happened to me when this happened in 2003. That's the year that I got, because I was so overweight, over 340 pounds at that time, you know, and I had bad habits, drinking the 2-liter sodas like that, 2 of those every day. I was really bad. I was so big, I have bad habits, you know, and God is now a respecter of person. If you don't put in this body the right things that need to go in there, I don't care how much you're devoted to the scriptures, there are rules that apply to the way of taking care of this body. You know, this body is going to suffer the consequences. And I learned my lesson that year, you know. I had been in the scriptures for a while, but I had not followed the right diet. So my body, you know, that's the year that 2003, that's the year of the works. You know, that's when I found out that I got diabetes, high triglycerides, high cholesterol, you name it. I had acid reflux. Because of the diabetes, I actually had, you know, by the age of 43, I already had developed erectile dysfunction, you know. You know how devastating that for that age? Some of you will understand. I have gone, or maybe you're going through that if you're my age now. But all those things that happened to me, and in and in September 12th of that year, that's when I had the minor stroke. You know, to top it off. You know, the icing on the cake, I could say, of all my diseases. And then I ended up with 8 prescribed medications that had just drained me of all the energy. And it so happened that year also, that's when SARS, you know, this another so-called pandemic was threatening the world at the time, you know, and everybody was afraid of SARS. But I was so sick dealing with my problem that I did not even pay attention to that. All I know is that at the time I thought I'm going to be a goner, because when I had the stroke, I developed like a little sensation on this side of the head. Every time I went to sleep, I felt like the blood was dripping out of my head, like this, a little drip, a little drip. Oh, that was such a torment, you know. Like there was a way that they used to torment people. They used to have a drip come on their head, I've been told, and that will just drive him crazy. But that's what like me, and he was like, so every time I went to sleep, I thought, well, this is my last day. So that's the year I opened up the domains preacher.com and the CEOs.com and the CFOs as well. But preacher.com because I wanted to put all the messages, type them at least to leave my legacy to this world, because I thought anytime I'm going to be a goner. God is going to take me anytime, at least all the things I understood from His Word, I'm going to share them for the world and leave them here, on the domain for my kids and anybody else that wants to know. And so I purchased the domain. I have it, and I still have it. Preacher.com, which a bookstore wanted me to sell it to them because they've been wanting to have it for a long time. But I run before they got it, and I got it. And then I got the other one, the CEOs.com, because I was thinking that's the name I give to the Word. That's the way I call the Word, because to me the Word has the word of the Creator has given me understanding to be able to cope with life and to be able to overcome the mindset that this world throws at you. So I was thinking, what's a way to honor, the word in this century? Because back the word Kyrios or the word Lord, the word I usually use for in the Bible, I was thinking of something equivalent to our times nowadays. To me, the CEOs are less than 1% of the people in the world, but they hire about 90 or 95% of the people of the whole world are hired by these CEOs that come up with products and services to serve the masses. So I thought those are really like the lords nowadays in comparison, because they get people the jobs, but with these people get everything with those jobs: their houses, they get to sustain their families, their cars, and everything. So that's what I was thinking. So I was trying to name the CEOs to give to each one of the messages that the Word of God had given me to call them by the CEOs, because those are the chief executives of my soul. And so that's why I registered that name. But that was interesting that I was on the third year of the beginning of this millennium, 70 years ago. That's when I did that. And then all of a sudden the SARS just stopped. I was told, I'm reading back on how things happened, but at the time I wasn't aware of that. I was just dealing with my own sicknesses at the time, But eventually I found out about the water cure, as some of you heard before, and I got rid of all the medications and everything, So in 2 months, by November of 2003, my energy had gotten back. I did not need any of the medications, and I kept the water cure for about a year, and I lost about 100 pounds or so just on the water cure. I did not change my diet, just implemented the water cure. You want to know more about it? I'll put a link one of these days, these things afterwards. But you got to look at Dr. Farandun Batman-Jelic. Farandun Batman-Jelic. He wrote a book, Your Body, Many Cries for Thirst. Or just look at the water cure. Google it, the water cure, and it will show you Dr. Batman-Jelic. I call him my hero because he got the name Batman in there. But he is the one following his instruction. He is the one that, I got rid of a lot of stuff, acid reflux. All my ailments went in 1 year. Just doing the water cure, nothing else, and not changing my diet. But then after losing the 100 pounds, then I had to change my diet a little bit to lose the rest of it. But in any case, all those things had happened to me. So that's on the third year starting this millennium, and that's 70 years ago, and that's when I did this. So I was looking at number three in the Bible is the numeric value for many words, but one that I like to think of is the numeric value of Aleph Beth. Okay, the strong tower. Aleph Beth means Ab, which is father. Okay, Aleph is 1 and Beth is 2 in the numeric. So that's number 3 makes for the Aleph. So the third year, and 17 is I've been told is the number for Tub. The numeric value for Tub, so the good or useful, the functional. For Tub is what is good, and God saw that it was good, the word Tub. So that's number 17. So that's what somebody told me, but in any case, so you understand that Tub, the functional father, so, when I look at the numbers, and then, but what happened this year, on the third month of this year, the March, after Purim, by the way, because in Purim, when I was so worried because I was not going to have enough money to help all the people for my budget, I have enough, but to help all the people that were, depending on the help that I give them, because I got they got used to the help that I've been providing. But all of a sudden, all of that was going to be gone. So I'm thinking, so I was kind of concerned about that and kind of worried a little bit. But then that's on March 10, that was a Tuesday, I believe. I understood what was the number one religion in the world. God made it clear to me that the monetary system is really a religion that is led by blind faith, which I'm going to explain in the next few days as we go through. This is just the introduction to it. So I understood. I saw that was the story, the holiday of Purim. When there was a reversal of fortune. Because Haman was thinking of annihilating Mordecai and all the Jews, and then at the last minute things turned around, and he ended up having to face the fate that he was hoping will happen to Mordecai. So all of a sudden, I realized that my eyes were open to understand what was going on and see the value. And then I understand that because to believe is to support, to really believe that, and now I'm going to give you a little test here right now, so you'll understand how people believe in money, the way that that is like a god, they give it the place of a god, and it doesn't care. It doesn't matter who you are, Buddhist, Hindu, Baptist, Catholic, or even atheist. They all believe that money is the one thing that gets them the best things in life. And if you believe that money is the one thing that you need to get you the best things in life, because a lot of people believe that, that money is the only thing that you need to get the best things in life. If you believe that, then you have blind faith in money. And I'm gonna show you how that is a blind faith in a minute, We're gonna get into that. But that was what was made very clear to me, And then on that, on the 17th of April, which is also into the third month, which is number 3, so the number for the Father. And the 17, that's the numeric number for Tob, for good. And to me, that's what I call the day of the Holy Father. Okay? I say Holy Father because that's the meaning of the words saint is holy, and Patrick, the name of Patrick is father. The meaning of Patrick is father, like a patriot, all these names, right? Patriarch, all those names have father in it. Okay? So on the day of the Holy Father, and remember what this Saint Patrick did, he's attributed with the one to having driven out the snakes out of Ireland. Okay? And I thought it was very significant. That day was very clear to me how he was giving to me the understanding of how to destroy the monetary system. The system of faith that people have in the monetary system. And but I thought that was very interesting that on the third month of this year, on day 17, that happens to be the day of the Holy Father, because that's the meaning of Saint Patrick, that this saint who drove the snakes, the snakes are the ones that inspire deceit, they're a bunch of lies. And we have made our refuge a bunch of lies. Well, he drove this out of Ireland. So supposedly there haven't been no snakes ever since then. But Ireland, what does Ireland? Ire means wrath. I-R-E, it's wrath and land. So the snakes were taken out of the land of wrath. So, when there's sin in the land, the wrath of God abides in it, So it's very symbolic to me that on that day, from the saint that drove the snakes of deceit and lies out of the land of wrath, because Ireland, that's the meaning of it, the land of wrath. Okay, so there's a wrath in the land, But understanding was given to me to take out the snakes, to take out the refuge of lies. And I want to be sharing this with you as these days, because every day I want to be doing this, but this is just the start to give you an idea. So God is behind everything that's going on right now, and I have no reason to despair, and I'm going to encourage you, with the things that I have understood, because these are the things that, cause me to smile during times like this, and but the interesting thing that happens is because everybody went through this. It's like all of a sudden, that was on the 17th, by the way, when I received clear understanding of how to destroy it. And on the 18th, the very next day, that's when they announced here in California that they were going to start, implementing the stay home and all of that. The very next day, on the 18th, and I said, very interesting, And so all these things have begun to happen, People were crazy buying all the paper, toilet paper and stuff like that. And you know how things have been going on. So that's the things that I've been seeing, But I want to share with you. That's why I decided to go ahead and form this group. We're going to have some fun with it, dealing with the situation, but also having understanding to see what's going on. Because the thing is, everything is run by a system that we have given it a value that does not deserve. We have trusted it in a way, and we have believed in it in a way that it should not believe on it as that way, because it does not serve that purpose. We think that money can get us the best things in life, but that doesn't do that one bit at all. And as it is progressing, I want to talk to you more in detail tomorrow about this, because I know it's taking a while, but I'll be saying more today. But at least I want to tell you that this is what I'm working on right now. So and good things are coming up, so don't despair, because there's a reason why we gather at this time. This is the only time where there's a technology called the cloud technology, by the way. And some of you that are into scripture, you understand that there was going to be a cloud that everybody was going to be able to see the message that's coming from that cloud. Now, we're talking about physical clouds. There's no way that a physical cloud in California can be seen everywhere in the world. But when we're talking about the cloud technology, we are watching each other in the world. And the only mediator between you and me right now, taking the pictures to you and bringing your voice to me and taking my messages to you and bringing your messages to me, the only mediator between you and me right now, even though you see me in pictures, all of that, is the digital word, is the dabar. So we are in the cloud in communication with the only mediator that, translate the images and everything into digital language, zeros and ones, and translate them back to you into your screen. But the only mediator between you and I right now, while we are in the cloud technology, is the dabar, the word of God. Even though it's the digital format, but nonetheless is the word that the computers communicate with and translate for us to see it in images and what have you. And we're using the cloud technology for the uploading and downloading of the data, so this could be transferred for the whole world to see. So this is an amazing time. This is the only time that this could happen, And for me to see that the world actually has been able to sit down with me, because you are sitting with me now. I've been on this for a while. So no, you have joined me now, and I'm going to encourage you with the things that I received and the understanding that I received, that not only made me healthy as well physically, but spiritually healthy, so I'm able to withstand this, because I know my lifestyle is more dangerous than the COVID-19. If you were to adopt my lifestyle, the whole country would have changed a long time ago. So I will read this poem and I will expound more on this, because this is the way system is right now, So I wrote this poem a long time ago, called there on the screen. It says, "If I Were a Dollar." Okay, let me just read it to you here. I think it's close enough. Yeah, okay. If I were a dollar, what thrill it would be, for all kings and sultans would bow down to me. If I were a dollar, I'd never be lone. To widows and orphans I even belong. If I were a dollar, love never would end, for even the stranger would call me his friend. If I were a dollar, my care would be steep. In beds made of wallets I'd be tucked to sleep. If I were a dollar, I'd never be bored. On trips and all places I would be adored. If I were a dollar, how safe I would feel. From both thief and miser, their hearts I would steal. If I were a dollar, if I were a dollar, I'd be like no other. Black, yellows, and whites would treat me as their brother. If I were a dollar, I have so much meaning, the rich and the poor of me would be dreaming. If I were a dollar, my self-esteem would rise, for people would trust me to buy paradise. If I were a dollar, I would be the hero of widows and orphans, of winners and losers, of those who have plenty and those who have zero. But since I'm just human, I'm worth even less than a dirty penny that knows no distress, for it would be picked up just simply for luck, while I will be left as a sight to be mocked. O mortals deriding, you have lost your way, For you treat the living as though they are worth nothing, and praising what's dead, on it keep on hoping. All right? So I will be expounding more on this tomorrow, so you begin to see what has encouraged me up until this time, to be able to see what has befallen upon the world, and yet, you are not dismayed. Because if in the day of adversity, you faint, then you're weak. That's what the Bible says. We want to have the strength to be able to overcome everything that is thrown at us. So thanks for your attention tonight, and hopefully I'll get back to you tomorrow on all of this for the rest of this.